Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Q&A Talkback for Block 6 of Stareable Fest 2020. My name is Zach Morrison. I'm a filmmaker and comedy writer based in LA, but I'm originally from the great state of New Jersey, and I am stoked to be moderating today's Talkback. Stareable Fest is the premium annual indie TV and web festival in the United States and the new home for digital creative talent in the TV industry. We honor the year's best content and provide a space for the next generation of creators to connect with industry executives, grow their network, learn new skills, and build community. Today, we are welcoming some of the creators of the incredible shows in our short form comedy category. First, we would like to thank our festival sponsors, including Dell Technologies, AMC Networks, Shutterstock, and Adorama. If this is your first event with us, just a few notes about interacting on our platform. You can click the TV icon on the left side of your screen to open the virtual screening room and watch any of the shows. You can click on anyone in the audience to start a private video chat with them. We won't be able to hear you all up on stage, so feel free to talk about whatever. On the bottom toolbar on the far right side, you'll see a lock icon. When it's unlocked, you are available to have video chats with other audience members. When it is locked, people cannot start chatting with you. If you haven't already, please allow your browser to enable your camera and your microphone. Click the gear icon on the top right corner and change the settings to enable your camera and mic. And most importantly, we will be taking questions and comments later in the session, so please participate. Use the hand icon to raise your hand if you have a question and would like to come up on stage here with us. Or if you'd like to just submit a question on screen, click the question mark bubble and type it to us below. But now I'd like to welcome our guests and creators. First up, we have Adam Graydon Reid, the writer, director, and producer of Hospital Show. Kyle Leland, writer, director, and actor in Hammersmith, and Damien Ferland, the writer, director, actor, and producer of Hyper Distracted.
Hello.
Guys, thank you all so much for being here. Your shows were all truly hilarious and very well done. So seriously, congratulations on just making something.
I can't hear our moderator.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me? Hello? Adam, do you lose me?
Oh, we lost him.
Okay, well, let's start off. Hopefully he can come back in a moment. Kyle, let's go down the row introducing ourselves. Again, say your name, your role on your show, what show you're with, and just give us a little bit about yourself as a creator. Kyle, do you want to start first?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Kyle Leland. I'm the writer, director of Hammersmith, which is a mockumentary comedy behind the scenes of an action film. I have been doing film for forever. I went to Columbia College here in Chicago to study film after New York Film Academy and some Second City boot camp stuff. But I mostly do commercials and stuff on the side here in Chicago. And then just recently we did a 48-hour film project and ended up winning it internationally and everything, and it ended up screening at Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, great.
So we decided to make that into this web series that we're making now. So we got to spend a couple more years making it, and we made 7 episodes, and we're rolling them out now.
Well, congratulations. That's really great. Damien, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Damien Ferland. I am my own subject in my web series, Hyper Distracted. I have been making short films and music videos for about over 10 years now. Yeah, I don't know. I went to school at University of Winnipeg for film studies, and yeah, and then from then just continued doing just that. The story behind the show is yeah, I wrote a feature script based on all those experiences, and it didn't work, and so may as well just break it down into its own parts, and because they were their own individual stories, and it worked. I think it worked much better than the original attempt. So.
That's great. I mean, your show is truly hilarious. Adam, welcome back. We were just
thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me? Are we all good?
I disappeared. Yes, I'm good. I'm here.
No worries.
I'm back.
We were just going down the panel, introducing ourselves again, saying your name, what show you're with, the role on the show, and just talking a little bit about yourself as an artist and your background.
Yeah, my name is Adam Graydon Reid. I'm the creator of Hospital Show. I actually wrote, directed, and edited it and produced it, and I co-star in it. My background is I began as an actor, a kid actor on a show called You Can't Do That on Television, and it was very, very sort of insignificant in my hometown of Ottawa, but it turned out to be a pretty big deal in the States, and so that kind of got me started. And so I've always kind of straddled both worlds. I've always kind of wanted to stay an actor a bit, a little bit in the trenches, and but at the same time, I decided when I was 19 I wanted to tell stories as well. So I went to film school, and so I've been basically making films. Now I'm making commercials, just like Kyle, as well. But I've been making films and commercials and also acting for the last little while, and then I was like, hey, hang on a second, I want to do what I did in film school, which was make something of my own. So that's why I put together Hospital Show.
That's great. I mean, and all of your shows are very, very well done. As an audience member, it was just fun to just sit there and see them all come together. Can you all talk about, just to start off, where the genesis of these stories came from, and how the ideas came about? Kyle, do you want to start with you?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, this started as a 48-hour film project. So we actually wrote, shot, and edited the first episode within 2 days. Like we literally picked a genre out of a hat, and it said mockumentary or action adventure. So we were like, well, let's make a mockumentary about action adventure. But then most of these jokes in the story, where I worked as a production assistant for 10 years on TV shows and movies in Chicago, and kind of when you're on set, the chaos that happens, there's so much fodder for jokes. So I kind of have always written down these random jokes. So then I finally had this project to kind of put some about narcissistic filmmakers and the ridiculous life on set. So then eventually, yeah, it all came together, and we put this crazy show together.
That's great. Damien, how about you? I know you mentioned it a little bit, how you were originally, this was like a screenplay or a feature that you wanted to put together from different stories, and that kind of didn't work out for you. Can you talk about how did you make the transition from that format into something like this, which is very presentational and very, it feels rooted in theater and improv? How did that kind of transition happen for you?
It's a good question. A long time ago, my friend Julia, who's suggested that I make a web series, and it didn't click with me like how I would put it together that way. And it's so funny that she was so right. And then I started working on the screenplay because I was remembering all of these things that happened. And I don't know, I tell people the story of what happened, and I tell friends, and a friend of mine jokingly said, "Oh, the trials and tribulations of Damien Ferland," and that was actually like a title at one point. It's a little bit long and like a little bit too self-referential for someone who isn't at all known. And then I wrote this script. I spent a while on it, and then I read it with friends, and it was so awkward. And I'm so glad that I had such an embarrassing experience with people I trust. And then I didn't know what to do. And then people just, other friends of mine had said, it's just probably for the best if you just tell the story yourself, because it's just you directly, and this, and I guess being subjective helps too, right? So. And these are people who make films themselves, who work with a lot of actors too, and they just felt like, this could be it. There was a joke that I would play all the parts at one point, and like kind of like the Being John Malkovich like restaurant scene. I kind of pictured that, but
what you kind of do.
I kind of do. What you do. Yeah. I do. It's true. It's like when I try to imitate like other people, and yeah, it's
very funny.
And so it's true. Like I guess I found myself getting in trouble with stuff. I usually have good intentions, and I just kind of framed it on that. Like, that's the thing. Like, I finished school, and I was hoping I would like work on film sets while I was trying to make my own stuff, but it didn't work out. I didn't have the right skill set or personality to survive in that environment, I guess. And so, yeah, I have some stories from that.
It works very well, and I think the final product is something that is, despite the kind of adventure it took you to get there, is just a joy to watch.
Thank you.
Adam, for you, I know we've all kind of heard the sort of idiom, like, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. But I've never seen a show like this before that actually, dived into that. So how did this story come about for you? What was it about the hospital drama that kind of inspired you to kind of unpack this?
Yeah, I think because I've been an actor all my life, it's the world, we talk about, you write about what you know. It's the world that I know. And I always felt like a lot of shows haven't really kind of grabbed, I've always wanted to just humanize the process. I wanted to make something that was very relatable. And oftentimes when you watch behind the scenes show, it's about being a celebrity or what it is. And it's like, I just want to actually portray the thing for what it is, which is a workplace. And maybe that's because I get a better sense of that because I'm a Canadian actor. It very much is like there's no celebrity factor whatsoever in Canada. So you go in and you just do your job. And so I felt like that hadn't really been captured yet. And I wanted to capture that. So I just thought to myself, okay, well, if I'm going to set a show about, in a world about actors, what are they making? And it just came to me, the idea of these broken, deluded, narcissistic, addicted, yet lovable people who play healers, like these broken people who need healing, playing healers. Was this just a wonderful house of mirrors that I thought, oh, there's something deep there. There's something, and I think I've always seen the craft of storytelling as a little bit of a waking dream. So I just kind of thought, once I had the idea of setting it in a world where these people are pretending to be perfect human beings when really they're not, I really thought, oh, there's something to explore there. And so I made it on a medical show. And then the twist of it was, oh, how about the lead actor actually almost was a doctor? And to me, that's just like, she becomes kind of the Dorothy. If we look at this as the Wizard of Oz, she becomes the Dorothy, where it's like she's really here by mistake. And everybody else is kind of already inhabiting this world, but she really shouldn't be there. She should be a real doctor, not pretending to be one. And so that's kind of that's the genesis of the idea and where I took it.
That's fascinating, that the idea of who are we supposed to be here? Because if we're all actors, we're all artists, we're all pretending to be something anyway.
Yeah.
It has this sort of multi-level, kind of meta aspect to it. I mean, and which is hilarious because all of your stories have that kind of meta story about making a story, structure to it. And for Kyle, I mean, what was it? I know you pulled mockumentary out of a hat, but in the same way that Adam was talking about, just how the act of making a movie brings people together. Was it the same thing for you? Or once you found the story, did you find that there's something about filmmaking that kind of brings your characters together like that?
For sure. I mean, even working on film sets, it's totally like that. You kind of become, I mean, you're working 15-hour days, and sometimes 6 days a week over and over again. You're stuck with these people, and they it becomes like a small family. There's a dynamic between all the different positions. And for this one, it was a very skeleton crew, and it was kind of a small cast, and I was kind of friends with all of them, and a lot of them were IO and Second City improv actors and stuff, so they're all fun. So I mean, yeah, we like became best friends over the course of making this, and we actually we shot the last 2 episodes in Paris. We all took a trip. We got into a film festival, so we decided to all go together, and then since we were all there and just hanging out in an Airbnb, with 10 people, stuck into this Airbnb that had like hammocks hanging. It was awesome. And so we just had the time of our lives, and we shot a couple episodes while we were there. So yeah, I mean, we definitely became like this super tight knit group, and we have our own little, text group chat and stuff. So yeah, no, it's definitely like that.
That's great. That's great that it came together organically. That kind of sense of camaraderie that is very much the core of your story is also kind of happening in reality as well. We're gonna just for any audience members, just a reminder: if you do have questions or you want to ask our creators anything, raise your hand, write something in the comments below, and we will totally get to you. But I want to talk about Damien. Please walk us through your writing process. Like, what is when you're crafting those stories that you're telling us? Like, what is it? Are you drawing fully from your life? Are there bits and pieces of stories you combine together? Because it really is fascinating listening to you talk about the stories you're telling.
It's almost like I have refined the story, I guess, from telling them over and over again. And I tried writing like a proper script to memorize and speak directly to the camera, and that didn't work out. So ultimately, I wrote an outline, and it was just good for me to like just make it. It worked as a list, and just to remind me of certain things that we're running from place to place and filming. So it's like just an outline of like these moments, and then I kind of go a little bit off the cuff. So it's interesting because I don't want to make it seem like it's too rehearsed. Like I kind of have to, I kind of, because I'm going to those places because I want to relive them in a way. And I'm trying to like show that experience of reliving it to the camera. So I'm just using my own natural reaction to things. And it's funny. It's like I kind of think of it as a documentary sometimes, but I also think of it of like, it kind of works like a show, like of someone really going back and reliving those things. I don't know. I can't really put my finger down on what it is, but someone called it documentary stand-up, and I mean, I'm sure I could see that. Yeah, like I could see the stand-up comparisons too. At one point, I was watching a lot of Billy on the Street, and I thought, oh God, I'm like screaming and pretending I'm screaming on the street with a camera, and with a microphone sometimes. So I thought, oh God, I've been watching way too much of that show.
I didn't want to bring it up because I was going to say, I'm sure you've heard someone say, oh, it's Billy on the Street. But I think there's something about that, just the act of just being there with a mic, telling your story that's captivating for people.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I was just going to say, it's like sitting around a campfire. I mean, it gets back to the essence of what storytelling is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bringing it down, just doing that. And it's funny because when I bring up certain things, like I just made a short film about when I was in Bible camp as like an 11, 12, 13-year-old. And there are just moments where I'm like kind of putting things together. And I was at a cafe nearby at my house, and I remembered that like the third year I was there, like the camp counselor's name was Torso because he liked to work out. That was his nickname, sorry, but I couldn't remember his real name, so I just stuck with Torso for like story. Like it's just like, oh, that's right, that happened 20 years ago. But it just takes some time for the pieces to fall into place, and yeah, it was just good timing, I think, too. So
yeah, absolutely. I guess my next question, Adam, because your show is very well done. And
Thanks.
I mean, the access that you had to the space and with everything going on, can you just walk us through like what were some of the challenges you faced logistically from the production side, bringing that together? And because I mean, it looks like you had the hospital, you had that whole world there.
Yeah, we did. I mean, like, just to take a few steps back, one thing I didn't mention is that I always imagined this as a pilot. And so it acts a little bit differently than a lot of web series that I've seen, which are kind of, they have their own, each episode's its own story. Whereas mine is like, it's kind of like, it's a mini stories, but really it's one whole 10 episode arc, which tells a whole story. So that was the point when I went to get the funding was, I want to tell this pilot. I want to do this as a pilot, but I want to do it in these mini chapters. And that's how I accessed the funding in Canada. So in Canada, there's funding for web series, but there is no funding to do an independent pilot. So that's why I kind of went to, how about I take this script that I've been working on and break it into these 5 to 7 minute chapters so that it is a web series. So, I mean, here, the thing is that like the great thing about doing something, say, for example, like with Damien, is that you can go out and shoot it. And you need basically very little. Like it's like you can instantly access what you want to access creatively. Whereas with Hospital Show, it's a great concept, but like it took me a year to get that funding. Like that was a whole year of like making the trailer and then getting everybody together, and then I had to go out to 3 different separate funds. So we got a lot of money as a result. But with that money, it's interesting. It's like, it adds its own problems and challenges because you're doing a union shoot. You're not, you're kind of not really, asking for favors as much. You've got money. You've got a location, but you got to fill that location. And how much is the location? Like, so we went to Riverview there's an actual hospital like that's used as a film set in Vancouver. But we paid the same amount of money as Deadpool 2 paid for it. Like the city of Vancouver doesn't give you a discount. So like, I think we paid like $40,000 for that location for 7 days. And we had a floor of the hospital but we had to fill it. And so even just filling it just comes as an empty hospital. So our art budget was huge because we had to like get real medical equipment into the space. So yeah, it was great. But again, having a larger concept and then having more money and then the location and everything that comes with that for sure it creates a whole other web of logistics that thankfully I still feel like we were tight and nimble enough that I think it still has like a certain life to it that feels really authentic and spontaneous. There's still a kind of a crackle in it, which I think you start to lose the more money you have. The more comfortable and less rushed and sort of less intense the experience is, I think it becomes sort of sluggish. So we still had we got 3 takes, we got 2 takes. Okay, I still had my PM coming up to me and saying, every minute you go overtime is $200. Like, so it's like, I still had the pressure, which I think created an electricity. But yeah, it comes with location issues and all sorts of
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And because we're all dealing with the different logistics that exist within the kind of different worlds we make for ourselves. It's funny how like you go from a no budget project to a big budget project and you still have the same problems that you had on the lower end side. And that's why, Kyle, I'm fascinated that not to like totally compare the projects because they're very, very different, but because they're both about the act of making a movie. When you went to start it doing that 48-hour film project, which I've done before, and I pulled musical out of a hat once, and that was a nightmare. But how did your production and all those things change from when you started there to like as you continued to grow? Did you find that the process changed for you, or did you just kind of like another one, just kind of getting the band back together?
Yeah, no. Well, it's kind of interesting. I think this is an interesting panel because we probably have like the 3 extremes of completely different budgets. You know, like,
true. Yeah.
Like
What do you
ours,
say? Excuse me?
I mean, like ours, we made, there's like 7 episodes and we probably made it for $5,000, like total. And the first episode, the 48-hour film project, was like, you're not allowed to pay people, like it's part of the rules or whatever. So that one, we kind of just threw it together, and it was literally, just 2 days of work. I kind of got the crew together and the cast and said, like, I have no idea what you're going to do or what you're going to play, but I'm going to text you at 3 a.m. Friday night. And that's what happened. And then when we saw that we were going to go to Paris, and the whole cast and crew was going to come, and we kind of had so much fun with it. We were like, okay, let's make more. So then it was a completely different process. Like the process totally changed, because then I sat down, by myself, and over the course of 2 weeks, I wrote this whole idea out, and added some jokes, and then left a bunch of holes. And then, like, over the course of months, when we were planning for the trip and everything, I would throw in more jokes that would just pop up. So the writing process was totally different, and then shooting wise, this is kind of something that a lot of us had to do, like, on weekends between our jobs, So that was another thing where, like, the one thing was one weekend we made an episode, and then the next one was like a process of months when we could put these things together, like piece by piece, like a puzzle, over a total, like, a extended period of time. So it was a totally different process, and we still haven't even released most of the episodes. So we're still kind of letting them come out over the next few months.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I was going to ask, is like where are you all at with these shows now? Are there plans for the next thing? Are there new episodes, or are we shifting into like a different project? Like what's next for you all? Damien, do you want to start?
Sure. Right now, I'm making a video diary that started in mid-March, and because when I guess it was a lockdown. Yes, it was it was on the verge of being a lockdown in Canada in March 11th or something. And I thought, okay, this would be interesting. I'm going to talk about my experiences with this. It's all new stuff. And then I was laid off a few days into making the video diary, and then just trying to figure out, like, what to do next. Like, I'd go on walks and find strange stuff. I'd just sit at home and then, like, started thinking about things from the past, and and made videos from that. So that's kind of it. I'm calling it hyper distancing.
Oh, fun.
I know.
That's funny.
So
it's a new thing. It's a new project entirely.
Yeah, it is, because it's in the present, right? And even if I'm talking about it in the past, it's because, like, I don't know, I was on Instagram and I just saw this and it made me think of, like, high school dances, like, it's thinking about the past, but stuck at the very real present. So yeah. And I'm finding a lot of interesting trash and graffiti in my neighborhood right now. So if you watch, there's it's been a lot of fun. So yeah.
Adam, how about you?
Well, I when I conceived of Hospital Show, I conceived it as a pilot. And I know that it's ambitious because I mean, who knows what'll happen with these things. I also knew that I just wanted to make it. It wasn't something that I wanted to pitch. So for me, it was also about the process of making something and getting the money together and putting my best foot forward and creating something that I thought was as close to a pilot that I could make. So it was also about the creative process. So for me, my next logical step was to develop it as a half hour. So before I go and make a second season of this, if I do that, my goal was to find a production company that I could partner with, and I found one in Toronto that I really like, and they put some together. We put some financing together, and I'm able to write a pilot for like a half hour version of Hospital Show, which is interesting because for me it's like, well, isn't the web series sort of already the pilot? So we're kind of reinventing. I'm sort of taking where the web series is now, and I'm imagining that like, halfway or 3/4 of the way through a first season, and I'm going back in time, and I'm kind of setting all of this up as the pilot. So we'll see.
Cool.
I mean, I'm in the mode of, trying to reinvent it as a half hour, and it's like, the writing process is torturous. So it's drudgery, and as I think I heard Jerry Seinfeld said, and I completely agree, because it's just like, it's tough. You're by yourself. You're in a vacuum. But when you write something funny, it's great. But that's where I'm at. I'm basically at writing for it, and continuing to put it out there, into festivals and get some awareness around it.
That's great. I mean, and that's the best part about, putting aside the nowness that we're all locked in the box and have nothing else to do except write and make stuff. It's great that your show is at a place where you have the freedom to kind of take it in, like discover that new direction, to find kind of the new thing to do with it. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that was the point for me, was if I'm going to make a demo, it's got to be really good. And that's why that's the hardest thing about doing a web series with, you either have to come up with a concept that does not require a big budget, or you get the money and make something really good, or at least hope you can make it really good. And I'm proud of what we did. But yeah, it's not easy. It's taken like 3 years. We shot it 2 years ago. This is still ongoing.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
great.
Still getting tax credits for it. Like, I'm applying for money to get, like, I haven't paid myself yet. So it's like, it's still an ongoing process, but that's part of it.
And that's obviously that's the exciting part, just continuing to see what happens. And seriously, like best of luck with the continued process.
I do want to make something much more simple, however, next time.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Kyle, how about you? You mentioned you had a couple more episodes that need to come out. What else is next for you?
Well, I'm thinking about moving to Canada to get some of that Canada money.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm telling you,
It's like, I thought it was so easy. It's
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
it's not easy.
it's
But
not easy.
it exists.
Yeah. Well, hopefully things change around in down here in the States soon. Maybe we'll start to give arts more money, but
You won't.
yeah, no, it's not. No, but yeah. So I'm like trying to navigate the whole web series, social media world, whatever that is, and then releasing the rest of these episodes and promoting them. I also made a quarantine short, and I think I'm going to make that into like a 3-part series. That's kind of like a procedural, like a Law and Order parody, but with my nephew's little action figures. I'm pretty proud of it. And then actually, there's a stand-up comedian here in Chicago, and she wrote a really good story that I think we're going to make into either a short film or maybe a web series to release. Yeah, and then there's a bigger project that I'm trying to work on with a friend that may or may not get money, but we'll see where that goes. But yeah, after Hammersmith, I'm definitely looking to switch tones. Do something like that's not so goofy and kind of just like I spent so much time on it that like now I'm just ready to catapult into a bunch of completely different things.
Yeah.
It is so important though to make comedy. Like,
yeah,
I forgot how important it was. In fact, some of the making of this project was just searching for meaning for myself. Like, why are we doing this? And the process itself is really hilarious. And I imagine you guys had a blast making yours, as we did. And then to see the feedback as well, people saying, "Oh my God, I laughed so hard." And it's just like, that is such a gift. Like, if we can give that, especially at this time, I mean, it made me realize how important what we do is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great point. I mean, I know, and I'm also a writer myself, and I like you said, Adam, it is the most painful process to like force the words to come out, especially today, trying to be funny. It's tricky, but I think all of you guys did a fantastic job at not only reminding us why we need humor, but also just allowing us to like escape into these insane worlds, even for the short episode chunks that we have. So congratulations on all your shows. I can't wait to see what comes next from you all. But it is time. We do have to wrap up, unfortunately. So I just want to say thank you one more time to the amazing creators that we have here today. Adam, Graydon, Reid, Kyle Leland, Damien Ferland. Congratulations, guys. Your projects are really incredible.
Thank you so much, Zach, and thank you, Stareable. What a great festival.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors, Dell Technologies, AMC Networks, Shutterstock, and Adorama. And to our audience, thank you all for being here and participating and checking out Stareable Fest and bringing us together with this creative community that Stareable has here. Our next session today is from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. A panel exploring limitations as a source of creativity, featuring Mel Elson, the EP writer and director of HBO's Room 104 and president of Duplass Brothers Productions, Scott Chaloff, head of production and film development at Adventureland and EP of HBO's Coastal Elites, and Michelle Graham, head of development and production at Delirious Media and producer of Coastal Elites. Thank you all so much for joining us, and hope to see you all soon. Have a great one, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.